What's happening, people? So, I'm here to review the Arsenal Manchester United game that we just witnessed yesterday. So, Arsenal losing 3-1 to Manchester United, and I'm disappointed, guys. I really am. That was a tough one to take, a tough loss against Arsenal's most bitter rivals, most intense rivals. To lose to Manchester United is always a bitter one. It's always a bitter pill to swallow. So this one's certainly no different. And it felt, it was challenging, guys, this one. It really was. Because I feel like Arsenal played pretty well. I think we had a lot of fluidity with our passing. I think the interplays were well connected. The movement off the ball was positive in terms of the attackers. I feel Saka was awesome yesterday. I think it was his best game of the season. He was giving Malacia a tough time, although Malacia was defending well for United. I do feel Saka was causing problems, and it was just unfortunate because Arsenal dominated possession for large parts and played in a very confident and front foot manner, but unfortunately were undone on 3 occasions by counter-attacks or sucker punches that really hit Arsenal when we were actually finding good rhythm and good flow in the game, which created a bit of a blow effect. We felt a sense of letdown and lull because we were constantly being picked off at moments when we were actually enjoying our better patches of the match. So it was frustrating from a supporter's point of view, and it does take a little bit of the wind out of our sails as a fan base, and I certainly feel a little bit knocked in terms of the confidence I have with regards to Arsenal's, let's say, title aspirations. Like I didn't necessarily think Arsenal were going to win the league this season, but I certainly thought we could get in the title race and be in amongst it. I think yesterday's result and yesterday's performance, the manner in which we were exposed on those counter-attacks by Manchester United, just demonstrated a little bit of tactical naivety and a little bit of a lack of game management. I think those are fair criticisms yesterday. I think Arsenal were a little bit too reckless at times with their attacks and maybe overcommitted players, and we were left exposed with our high defensive line and we got picked off 3 times. So I feel Arteta will have to learn quickly, because just obviously in hindsight it's very easy to put forward an alternative that might have worked better, but I just think maybe Arsenal could have approached the game in a more pragmatic, solid and almost uniform formation, where we were ensuring we had our solid lines behind the ball, ensuring we were protecting and maybe sitting just a little bit deeper at times to prevent their counter-attacks, because Rashford on the break is very fast and a good finisher, so once he gets behind the defender he often scores. So perhaps Arsenal could have been more pragmatic and taken a page out of maybe Antonio Conte's school of thought, how he would have gone about that game, and making sure that we at least protected our side and then trusted that we'd find enough moments with our attack and maybe frustrate Man United and almost bait them into coming at us. So if we'd have sat back a little bit more, maybe United would have taken on the onus of attacking and pushing forward, and Arsenal could have counterpunched a little bit. And obviously it's a grey area because you don't want to compromise your philosophy, and one of Arteta's greatest strengths as a manager, I think, is his very defined and clearly identifiable game style, where Arsenal, he's able to coach Arsenal into a very slick and well synchronized and well combined attack, where players are very much in sync with the other. So if Zinchenko drops into midfield, It might mean Gabriel Magalhaes shifts to left back, giving Martinelli more license to get forward. Zinchenko can connect with Odegaard. Odegaard could connect with Saka. Jesus could be buzzing around. And I feel like that's very much out of the training pitch, where Arteta's coaching these guys on the formations and the patterns of play he wants to see. So that's why I'm only posing the question, could Arteta have been more pragmatic? I'm not saying he should have been more pragmatic, because I also feel that you don't want to abandon your principles, your way of going about it. Go with what you know. And I think Arteta did that. And I don't really think we can reproach him on that. And I'm kind of answering my own question in a way. Could Arteta have been more pragmatic and set up two banks of four or whatever, more of a rigid defence and midfield? Maybe yes, but no, I don't think it would have been preferable to what he did. Certainly in the first 60 minutes, I think the game plan was perfect. I think maybe at 1-1, there could have been a case for a more patient, just let's take the sting out of it for a few minutes rather than rushing forward. But there again, United have picked a pass and unlocked the door, created maybe something out of nothing in a way to get that second goal with Bruno's incredible pass that he put through for Rashford. So it's fine margins, and I also think the attack guys let us down in certain moments with the finishing. Like Odegaard had a chance that Jesus laid off for him early in the second half before Saka equalised. That I thought it could have been that was one of the gilt-edged chances we had, and maybe there was one earlier in the first half from Saliba, but Saliba's a defender, so it's always a little bit more unfair to expect a defender to come up with your moment of composure in terms of the finish. So, but could Arsenal have been slightly more clinical with their conversion of the shots? And that was what United demonstrated. United were more clinical. When they got their chances, it was bang. It was straight in the corner. It was no questions asked. It was clinical and effective and cold. Arsenal at times just showed a little bit of indecision or hesitancy or just a lack of confidence with the final shot on goal. And I think Arteta needs to hammer home that point, because I was struck after the Aston Villa game, and so the match that Arsenal played midweek. I listened to Arteta's press conference, and he was asked that very question. Like, in the first half, you were so dominant. Was it slightly disappointing that you weren't able to build up a bigger lead in that first half, meaning you'd have more of a buffer going into the second half should Aston Villa come with the onslaught? And Arteta said something like, he almost gave his players a bit of a pass in terms of his answer. He said something along the lines of, yeah, I hear that, but scoring goals is one of the hardest things in football, so yeah, it's not always easy. And I kind of thought, yeah, I do hear that, but I kind of do also feel that Arteta needs to be onto the players about this shooting accuracy and this shooting ability, this precision, this ruthlessness. When you get in front of goal, you've got to ping your targets. I wonder if Arsenal are just a bit wishy-washy and flimsy with some of their shots, and they need to be more potent in the final shot. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. Arsenal, when they get the window of opportunity, they get half a yard of space in the penalty area, they have to be more cold and ruthless in front of goal. I think that's the big thing for me, the big takeaway, more than the gaps in the defence, because I actually feel the goals Arsenal conceded weren't necessarily about defensive errors. I think it was more about crediting United. It was more about very quickly executed, well conceived and good vision in terms of the passes that they picked out. So it was Eriksen, like I said, guys. It was Fernandes for the second goal. It was Eriksen laying off at Rashford for the third. But even, I think Eriksen was involved in the first goal as well, when he played it in to Rashford, who then laid it off to Antony. But often the theme was that United were quite quick and very instinctive, and in terms of their passing, and it caught Arsenal cold. They didn't have a chance to plant their feet, and the defence didn't have a chance to get its structure in place. the first goal, there could be a case made for, obviously Zinchenko often comes inwards, as we've said, and that's great in the attacking sense, but does it sometimes leave a hole in that left back position? So Antony was in acres of space for the first goal. So these are just questions that Arteta can ask about the defensive structure in terms of getting the blend right. For me, guys, I would like to see Tomiyasu come back into the team. I think he gives us that ruggedness, that combativeness in our defence. He's very competitive in his duels, very good aerially, reads the game well, tracks his winger really well, like the runs they'll make. He'll shadow them. He'll usher them out of play. I think we miss Tomiyasu, and there is a case to be made for Tierney to come in, but I don't think that should necessarily mean Zinchenko has to drop to the bench. I think there is a team in which Tierney could play at left back and Zinchenko could drop into midfield. So, but that defence, I think it's just a case of getting the personnel in that can do the jobs that we need to prioritise. Like, it comes down to, you also got to weigh up the strengths and weaknesses of your opponents. So Man United are very good at breaking fast. They're very good. They're very skillful wingers in terms of Sancho or Antony today. So would that have brought forward the case for playing Tomiyasu and Tierney, who are very good at the defensive side? Or do you prioritise the ability to construct attacks, the ability to receive the ball well, to lay it off well, to link the passing? Zinchenko, he's the guy for that. So Arteta still needs to work out for which games do we need to go with particular personnel, particularly in the defence, and can we accommodate more of them? It's tricky. So that's what Arteta, I think, needs to work out. I think another thing I want to highlight, though, people, is Manchester United. I think they deserve credit. They were very strong. I think they've shown it. Ten Hag has been able to create a very solid structure, a very good formation. They're difficult to break down. And as much as I've highlighted that I'd like to see Arsenal improve their shooting, there weren't so many gilt-edged chances for Arsenal, and I think that's credit to United. I think Varane and Martinez are striking up a partnership, and McTominay was competitive, and Malacia and Dalot played pretty well. So I think credit needs to go to Man United. I think they're an improved team under Ten Hag. I don't think many teams are going to go to Old Trafford and win this season. Brighton obviously did on the first day, but we've seen since then United beat Liverpool and also obviously Arsenal. So they've responded with 2 wins. So big picture, people, I think we can take a little bit of positives from this game in terms of Arsenal's approach, in terms of sticking to our philosophy, in terms of the patterns of play we were seeing in our possession-based football, and also there was a degree of resolve and resilience from going 1-0 down to how we responded early in the second half. There was a reaction. So we've seen a little bit of a positive there in terms of Arsenal having the ability to turn the tide of a game. I think the next step is the game savviness in terms of when you're at 1-1, sit in just for 5 and then assess the game again. Pick your moments. Be like that boxer who's not throwing punches every moment. Sometimes he's got his guard up. Sometimes he's searching for the weakness in the opponent and then picking the moment for the next land, the next jab. Arsenal could have done that at 1-1. Easy in hindsight. So easy in hindsight. I just hope that Arteta and the boys, they learn from the lessons today, because things are going to get more difficult. In this run-up to the World Cup, it's going to be a very testing couple of months for Arsenal. And I just hope we've got the depth, the personality, the spirit, the depth, really, guys, the strength in depth to cope with the rigours of these fixtures, because obviously the Europa League is starting, so we're playing Zurich in Zurich. We're travelling to Switzerland for that first game, and then we're coming back and playing Everton on the Sunday. We're then playing our next game, I believe, against PSV Eindhoven at home the following Thursday. Then it's a trip to Brentford. And that's exactly the sort of team that's going to be a nightmare to face when you're on tired legs after a gruelling Europa League game, playing Brentford, a team that's all action, all intensity, with their physical presence and their speed and quickness of play. So those are the next 4 matches. Then there's an international break, and then October. I think I heard someone say Arsenal maybe have 10 games in October. That's big. There's a lot of games, and within that month, there's Tottenham on the 1st of October at home, Liverpool and Man City. We also play, I believe, we're at home in both of those. I might be wrong with that, and obviously the Europa League continues, and presumably the League Cup. Although I haven't checked the fixture list for that, but Arsenal, there's a lot to play here, people. In after the international break in September, October's a busy month. Then obviously November we have a few games before the World Cup. But these next 4 games are key, people. Just get through the Europa League games. Hopefully we can rotate, conserve energy, and still pick up points against Zurich and PSV in the next couple of weeks. But then it's Everton and Brentford. Get back to winning ways. Get our mojo, retain that mojo and that belief and that sense of confidence in our identity and our playing style. And I think we'll be okay. I think we'll bounce back. So as much as I sort of said earlier, there might have been a slight knock effect in terms of confidence about Arsenal's title bid. I don't necessarily think that is a defined feeling. It is just an initial feeling. I still feel like Arsenal have the ability to respond and to readdress the script and to get back on track and to show, we belong at the top of the table and we want to stay top of the table for as long as we can. I think it's important that we try and ride this wave for as long as possible. So, okay, people, hope you enjoyed this video, and there'll be more on their way. Keep going. A message from Down Under is for the Gunners to maintain confidence, to maintain belief in their approach and their actions and how they're going, and just to maintain this positive start to the season. Okay, people, hope you like the video. Shoot through your comments if you've got any reflections on the game or on Arsenal's season in general, and I'll be back with more content. All right, people, peace.